Easy and conflict-free strategies for dealing with difficult people at your work with Jason Campbell. Fix workplace conflict once and for all with Jason Campbell. Hey everyone, it's your inspiration, internet marketing and financial literacy lover, Adventago, and today I'm going to be talking about Jason Campbell from Mindvalley and how to deal with difficult co-workers at the workplace. Now, what I want to talk about is something very interesting because a lot of us might be in the workplace and the people we work with aren't necessarily the ideal people you want to work with. There's always little conflict that can happen. Maybe you find yourself around a water cooler and there's that one person you're like, oh my gosh, they're always late to meetings. Or that one person who always says they're going to do something and they never submit the work. But I'll talk with you about one that's even more sensitive than that. And that is when you have a boss or a supervisor that seems to treat you badly and they seem to be quite abusive. Well, is there a solution to this, or are you just doomed in your workplace to be with these people? What Jason Campbell from Mindvalley is hoping to share are some different strategies that you can do to deal with this once and for all. But before he goes into defining what you can do with difficult co-workers, there's a lot of different types. Working with other human beings is some of the most difficult things to do. If you look at the divorce rate in marriages, it's over 50%. And those are supposed to be people that are in love for the rest of their lives. You go into the workplace with people you didn't choose to work with, and in different environments where you're all having different expectations, different stories and different backgrounds. Can conflict arise? You bet it does. And so, what Jason Campbell from Mindvalley wants to do here is shift your perspective, because there might be a difficult pill to swallow, but he really wants to share this with you, and that is, if you're having issues with a co-worker and you're having conflicts, it's your fault. Yep, Jason Campbell from Mindvalley admits it's your fault. He doesn't like admitting it, but when you do, there's a couple of things that are going to happen. You see, if you continuously blame other people for the problems you have in the workplace, you become a victim. And if you've studied any kind of personal growth, there's an author called Michael Beckwith who talks about the different stages of your growth. And the lowest one you can be at is the victim state, which means you are powerless over your environment. And if it's the workplace, then you find yourself not being able to change the circumstances you're in. That's why the most effective thing you can do first is to claim responsibility. If you know it's your fault, then you step into a space where you have the power and you can make a change. If you acknowledge this, and I know your situation might be very difficult, but here's one thing you can do regardless of the type of difficult co-worker situation you have. It's usually when there are disagreements. It has to do with communication. Jason Campbell from Mindvalley was having a conversation with Lisa Nicholas. She's a motivational speaker. She speaks around the world about all the aspects of personal life and professional life. She gets invited in front of Fortune 500 companies to help them communicate better and build better teams. And here's what she talks about. Crucial conversation and critical courageousness conversations are the key to being able to build really strong workplace environments. Because if you are being a victim and you're having these difficult co-worker situations, 1, are you addressing that issue? 2, are you having strong communication and strong conversations with these people to solve it at the root? Here's a quote that shocked Jason Campbell when he was talking to Lisa Nicholas from Mindvalley. She said, if you're speaking about any difficulty you have in the workplace with someone that can't influence the outcome, that's gossip. And if you are gossiping within the workplace about the frustrations you have with people that are just not going to influence the outcome, you're basically wasting your energy, time, nurturing victim state, and trying to find empathy for your situation with people that can relate. It's often what you call triangulation. Jason Campbell said he remembers having this conversation with Tel Swan. He's a personal growth personality on YouTube. And when Jason Campbell interviewed her, it was crazy because everything she was talking about, workplace conflict, always came back to childhood traumas. The kind of traumas you had in your childhood will be relived within the workplace. Isn't that strange? If you were finding yourself that you were never getting enough attention, you were never getting your ideas listened to, and you look back into your childhood and you were like, wow, mum and dad never listened, or with my friends, it seems like I was the last one to have the right ideas. In the workplace, that will likely replicate itself. For Jason Campbell, he admits, for him, he would often under-communicate, and when he would get frustrated, he would stay in that frustration and not even go and have the conversation with the other person. And you know what would happen when Jason Campbell did? The rage immediately would disperse because he would pull them aside. Disclaimer, this is a critical step. If you're going to be addressing a conflict with somebody in the workplace, if you do it in public, it's kind of like shaming them, and everybody reacts to shame in a really bad way. Also, it will trigger all of their baggage and their trauma, so you must do it privately. If you've read The 7 Habits of the Most Highly Effective People by Stephen Richards Coy, he talks about one of the habits is, if you want to be understood, first seek to understand. But before you do that, when you pull that person aside, go with an intention of understanding them, because they have their own issues that they have to deal with, and there might be a very simple explanation as to why they are treating you this way. Perhaps they are unaware of their behaviour, perhaps they have never received feedback on how their behaviour is affecting you and other people in the workplace. And when you have these conversations, make sure you're not doing any kind of attack. Come from your perspective, feelings, and communicate with respect. For example, Jason Campbell remembers speaking with his boss, pulling him aside and saying to him, "Hey, I just wanted to share some feedback because I know in the previous meeting, I felt that you were a little aggressive. I felt that you didn't actually listen to the ideas that were being shared. And I even felt that I couldn't even have a chance to speak because I am the type of personality that will shut down if there is a situation of conflict. So I wanted to know, was there anything up? Are you okay?" When he goes in with the intention of empathy, that person said, "Wow, I didn't realise that I came across so aggressively." And Jason said, "You probably would want to communicate to the other team members, but I'm happy that I got that off my chest." Just getting that off his chest was something that relieved most of the pressure that Jason Campbell was feeling from having a difficult co-worker. And from there, they weren't perfect, but they started having a bit more awareness. And here's something important to remember. Jason Campbell was reading a book called Crucial Conversations, and in there it talks about those situations where stakes are high, emotions are high, and you're at opposing views with somebody else. Now, 9% of the communications you have in the workplace are not going to be crucial. They're going to be an everyday type of conversation. But there's something interesting that happens in that 10% when it turns crucial, which is when somebody's emotions goes high, you don't start acting logically anymore. You start acting very emotionally. And people typically have two types of responses. Either they become aggressive or they become passive. And so, when you notice that in the other person, you know that something is happening to them emotionally, whether they're aggressive or silent. If they're aggressive, you definitely want to apply this technique, which is to pull them aside and have that conversation to understand what's going on. They did not feel psychologically safe in whatever conversation or environment that they were in. And so you're going to want to pull back and see how you can resolve that safely first. And if you see that they're silent, make sure you invite them to engage more, because if they are silent, you're not getting the feedback. And then again, conflict could come from resentment and uncommunicated issues. The most important thing here is 1. Make sure that you're not going to gossip if there's going to be some conflict in the workplace. 2. Have courageous conversations and crucial conversations. 3. Make sure that there's that psychological safety. And last but not least, 4. Be a part of nurturing by having the courage to have honest conversations with the colleagues you might disagree with. And you will see it will show that you are someone that is stepping above and beyond. You're trying to resolve the conflict. And if you see nothing else is working, well, maybe that's the final straw that you need to look for a different environment. But don't give up on the environment first, because you need to take responsibility and do the right changes. Because once you go through that, you'll see that you have a transformation in yourself, and whatever issues that might be going on in your mind that makes you feel like people aren't fair to you, you might just realize that they are just things in your mind. So make sure to have more of those conversations. I hope this was helpful for you, and for whatever conflict that you are facing, I hope that you can use some of these techniques in your conflicts, in your workplace, and of course, Jason Campbell from Mindvalley gets a chance to interview experts in this field every single week, and he's been able to absorb that knowledge, and he wants to share it with you as well. So make sure to follow him too. You can learn more about him and his life-changing work by clicking the link in the description below now. Thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you taking the time out of your day to fill your brain with something that will inspire you to be more in life and give you the boost you need to keep pushing towards your hopes and dreams. If you like this video and want to see more like them, then do me a tiny favour and follow me on whatever platform is best for you. The links will be in the description below. Bye for now from Adventago. Take care.